I believe that every successful virtual assistant follows the same client journey, more or less. Today, I'm going to walk you through that exact roadmap step by step. Hi, guys. My name is Briani, and I make virtual assistant content for people who are interested in becoming a virtual assistant or aspiring virtual assistants looking to grow and scale their virtual assistant business. I've been a virtual assistant since 2022, and since then, I have grown my business into an operations agency and I'm still able to support clients every single day. If you want a printable version of everything we're about to go through in today's video, make sure you download my virtual assistant roadmap linked in the description below. Let's get started. Before we jump into the 6 phases that I want to go over about the client journey, I want you to understand that there is no phase that's more important than another phase. Yes, there is a general order that it kind of goes in, from building your business to finding clients to actually signing and working with clients. But overall, all of these phases are equally important and none of them should be missed, in my opinion. The first phase is the build phase and is pretty self-explanatory. This is your preparation for bringing in or signing new clients. When you decide to be a virtual assistant, you don't just go looking for clients and kind of figure it out later. It's important for you to have a good foundation from the beginning to make your life easier as you grow. You need to decide what services you're going to offer and what services you aren't going to offer. Decide your pricing and what your pricing structure looks like. If you're going to be an hourly virtual assistant, then you need to factor in all of your expenses and the profit that you expect to make so that you can come up with an hourly rate that makes sense for your goals. Same with retainer packages. You need to come up with retainer packages that work for your goals as a virtual assistant when it comes to your income. Whether you decide to be on retainer, have hourly rates, or get paid per project, you need to make sure that you're factoring in all the expenses that you have from your virtual assistant business. You actually have to narrow down and decide what systems you want to use that actually run your business. From people scheduling calls to you hosting calls, to you receiving payments, to getting contracts signed. All of these systems need to be in place before you even think about looking for your first client. Phase 2 is the attract phase, and this is when you are actually ready to sign a new client and you're looking for that first client to sign with you in your virtual assistant business. I already have a video posted of the strategies that I think are the best to use when you're trying to find clients as a new virtual assistant. But just make sure that you check out that video so that you have all of the strategies necessary to find your first client as a virtual assistant. No matter what strategies you decide to adopt to find clients, you need to make sure that you are prepared to actually receive those clients for discovery calls. Having a scheduling link, having your services ready for you to pitch and to explain to people what services you offer. I also mentioned in that Finding Clients video virtual assistant Facebook groups and how influential and amazing they are for finding clients as a new virtual assistant who might not be as experienced or doesn't have as much confidence right now with their virtual assistant skills and services. Phase number 3 is convert, and that's when you actually start to have a pipeline of leads or actually getting some people interested in signing with you and working with you in your business. I always recommend creating an inquiry form so that you can start to build a lead process and disqualify people that don't necessarily align with what you're looking for in a client. When it comes to scheduling discovery calls, you should have a scheduling link to make it super easy for them to sign up for a call with you. Along with that scheduling link must come some type of meeting software, whether that's Zoom or Google Meet or Skype or whatever you want to use. There's no point in having a scheduling link if you don't have a mechanism to actually take the calls. You'll also want to nail down more tangible things like proposals, contracts, invoice templates, all of the things needed to actually sign a client and have them on your roster for your virtual assistant business. As far as contracts are concerned, I always recommend looking for a lawyer-reviewed contract template. That just makes it 10 times easier for you to make sure you're covering all of your bases legally for your business and for your client. One thing I want to point out about invoices that I've noticed with a lot of virtual assistants is they don't have an invoicing platform. When you send somebody an invoice, if you don't have a processor to actually process the payment, then you're kind of creating more work for that person that's trying to pay you. An invoice processor, something like Wave or PayPal or Honeybook, they all have their own processors that can process credit card and debit card payments, ACHs, bank deposit, all of the things. They need a processor. Personally, I am not a fan of the whole I made this invoice for you, here it is. Now you have to figure out how you're going to pay me. I just think it's very tasteless. And again, you're a virtual assistant. You're in the business of making people's lives easier. So why do they have to figure out how to pay you? You need to make it so easy for them where they can click pay, put in their credit card information, and pay the invoice. Period. The launch phase is my favorite phase because that's when we actually get into the work that is being a virtual assistant. This would include your welcome email or a welcome guide or packet that explains your services and what it's like working with you as a partner, having and hosting your onboarding call so that you can start to get acclimated with your client's business. They can start handing off those first initial tasks that they just have to get off of their to-do list. This is also a good time for you to get any requests that you need for the softwares that they use. Every software has a two-factor or needs a code for you to get in. So on the onboarding call is the best way for you to get access to their confidential and secure information in order for you to do your job. Understand that the launch phase typically is the first 30 to 45 days of you working with that client. So this is the time to establish boundaries. Understand that not establishing boundaries is not your client's fault. Every single time you let your clients get away with things that you don't feel is necessary or you don't feel aligns with your values, you're giving them the right to take advantage of you. Whether that be answering messages on the weekend or working outside of working hours, every single time you do it, they're going to keep pushing, right? If you're not going to set boundaries, they're not going to set them for you. During this launch phase is when you can be very strict and very stern about what you will do and what you won't do, obviously in the parameters of the contract that you both sign. Phase 5 is the support phase, and this is what I like to call the steady state phase. So you guys really aren't new in the partnership at this point, but you're at a pace where there is some reciprocation between the relationship, right? The client is asking you to complete these tasks or work on these projects, and you are offering that service, whatever that looks like, obviously under the terms of your contract. This is setting up a cadence of communication between the two of you that works best for the both of you, whether that be weekly meetings, bi-weekly meetings, monthly meetings, weekly snapshots, daily check-in messages, whatever communication cadence works for you guys. This is the time where those things start to become a little bit more normal. Task management is a big part of the support phase, and quite frankly, if you don't have some type of project management system to manage your tasks, it's going to become very, very hard for you to keep up as you sign more clients. Writing all of the things you need to do on a post-it note or in a Google Doc works for 1 to 2 clients, but what happens when you have 4 clients or 5 clients or 10 clients? You're eventually going to run out of post-it notes. Using a project management software like ClickUp, Asana, or Trello allows you to have one central place to organize all of the work that you need to get done and even categorize them by client. Phase 5 is also the place where you need to start to establish what organization looks like in that business. A lot of the times when you're working with clients who have never had a virtual assistant before or even never hired someone else for their business, meaning that they're a solopreneur, they've been doing everything themselves, it's very common for them to have no type of organization, right? Their files are all over the place. They're managing tasks in 1,000 different places, and their business lives in their brain. Even if you aren't necessarily hired to organize things for them, if you start to have some organization on your end and the client sees that, it's a lot easier to sell, oh, let me help you organize this, or let me support you in organizing these different things in your business so you can be successful. Phase 6 is for when you are actually ready to start scaling your business. You've got this client thing down to a science and you're in a place where you can start taking on more work. Obviously, this is super exciting. After you've gotten a couple of clients under your belt, you're in a space where you can start asking them for testimonials. The testimonials don't have to be these long paragraphs of anything. It could just be a couple of sentences proving what it's like to work with you and how good it is. The easiest way to sign clients as a virtual assistant is through referrals. If you think about what a referral is, it is somebody who's already worked with you. You've already proven or shown to them that you're good at what you do for them, and they're going to go tell somebody else about the good experience that they have with you. The work has already been done because you're doing good work for that first client. Anybody that they go talk to about your services are easy, warm leads. I also really like the growth phase because this is the time where you can actually start to raise your rates. My rule of thumb is that after you sign every 2 to 3 clients, your rate should be going up. It doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be substantial. It doesn't even have to be a lot. But when you start to get more experience, you are actually more valuable when it comes to your services in your virtual assistant business, and you need to be charging for that. Now, of course, with raised rates comes raised responsibility, and that responsibility is always being of the mindset to grow, scale, and improve the systems that run your business. Just because a certain platform worked for you in the beginning doesn't mean that it's going to continue to work for you as you get more clients. You should always be evaluating your systems, always evaluating how you get work done, and making sure that you're using the best systems, the best software, and the best methods to get things done in your business. When I first started my virtual assistant business, I was not using a CRM at all. And I'm glad that I switched over because I would have lost my mind trying to onboard 3 and 4 clients at once with no CRM. It would have taken me hours and I probably would have pulled the little bit of hair that I have left. Understand that even though you're a virtual assistant and your business is small, you are still a business. And one thing about entrepreneurship is that you have to evolve and adapt and grow. There is no way for you to sustain yourself in your business year after year after year if you're not making improvements, making changes, and modifying the way that you do things in your business. Now, that's not to say that you need to be changing things every 5 minutes in your business, but if you do a tutorial for a new software and you like the way that that software works and you can actually justify paying for it over a different software that you have, make the switch. I would hate for you to be in a situation where you have all of these systems that no longer work for you and you're in this dire situation where you have to switch things over. You have to do it right now. When you notice it, make the change and make it quick. Now, let's recap all our phases. Phase 1 is the build phase, and that is the foundation of a good, sustainable virtual assistant business. Phase 2 is attract. Once you have that foundation, you're looking for clients and trying to sign your first one. Phase 3 is the convert phase, and that's the exciting part because you actually get to talk to people, learn about their business, and hopefully convert them as paying clients. Phase 4 is launch. You've signed your first client or your first couple of clients, and you guys are in that startup phase where they're delegating a few tasks to you. You're getting into their systems and really getting to know how their business runs on a day-to-day. Phase 5 is support, and that's the steady state with your signed clients, weekly meetings, weekly communication, and just doing the things that they need done in their business. Phase 6 is the growth phase, and that's how you really build a virtual assistant business that sustains your lifestyle. Having more clients, signing more clients, and building systems that allow you to get work done for all of those clients. Remember, if you want the printable version of this roadmap, be sure to click the link below and download the virtual assistant roadmap that I created just for you. Be sure to like this video and subscribe so that you don't miss any virtual assistant content that I post every single week. Comment below what phase you're actually in this virtual assistant roadmap, and I can't wait to connect with you guys. See you later.